Have you ever wanted a single cookie, but you just don't want to go to the hassle of making a whole batch of cookies just so you can have that one? Well, good news for you. My pal Ed is here today to show us all how to make a single emergency chocolate chip cookie. Just one cookie. And this is from Ed's new book, Small Batch Bits.
Nicely on the shelf.
Well, next to ours.
Yes.
Not that it's a competition.
Wow.
If it was, yeah, you'd win because it's a bestseller. Congratulations.
Yeah, it only just scraped into the bestseller list, but I'll take it.
I'll take it. Also, it's really unusual for a baking book to get the Sunday Times bestseller
Yeah,
list.
in the kind of cookbook section. Cookbooks just sell way more, so it's harder. So
well done, you.
I'm very happy.
I am too, because it is such a great book.
Thank you.
What prompted you to write such a book?
So all of my books in the last few years have all been about trying to solve a problem for a home baker. So the previous two were all about reducing the amount of equipment you need, because baking needs a lot of equipment.
I know.
Very often. I mean, hello. So the idea was to remove that boundary to kind of entry. So make sure everything is made in the same single tin to make it a little bit easier, a little bit more approachable. So this was kind of from a similar point of view, but a different problem. So mostly it was down to the fact that during lockdowns, me and my partner were just home alone, and I didn't have the way of giving stuff out like I used to do. So we would be like, oh, should we make a crumble on a Sunday? Yeah, but we don't want, so we'd make smaller things. And it kind of came from there.
Genius.
And I think people have really gelled with the idea, because people seem to be going, oh my God, I've been waiting for this for years. So
I certainly have.
Super happy about it.
Yeah, because everyone's been in that position, right? And so many people say to me, what do you do with all the bakes that you like? It's like, I literally have to give it away. Like anyone in the street. No,
literally, I used to joke that I would have things in my bag.
Yeah, just in case.
Any meeting that I had.
Yeah.
But I think like baking on a big scale has we understand its place. And all my other books have been about serving lots of people, but I think we just realised that actually baking can be those quiet moments. It's just the two of you. You want to make. There's a date night pizza recipe for two, or there's like a date night dessert for like creme brulee, and it just makes one big one for the two of you.
Amazing.
And I think we don't think about those moments as much. Baking generally is about these big special occasions. But I am a greedy person and I like baking, so I want to do it all the time. So I need smaller batches.
You are going to love this book. I love it. It's one of the first books, honestly, in a long time where I've literally flicked through it and gone, oh, I kind of want to bake everything in here.
That's
so thank you and well done.
Thank you very much.
But let's get cracking. So single cookie, obviously that is a genius idea. The amount of times that we've said to you guys about making batches of cookies and putting your dough in the freezer so that you can get one cookie out of the freezer.
I do that all the time, but sometimes
just don't have one in the freezer.
Exactly.
I don't right now. So let's do it.
So this is super easy. So first thing you do is take a tablespoon of butter.
Okay.
It needs to be melted but not too hot, otherwise you may need to chill the batter. So get that done as your first thing, and then we can move on from there. So now you want to add a tablespoon each of caster sugar and light brown sugar.
Okay.
And the reason for that is you get a really nice variation of texture and flavour. If you use all caster sugar, it may not be as chewy. It also might not have that kind of caramel flavour. So I like to use a bit of both, but if you use all caster, it tends to be crisper, which is fine. So you can adapt it however you want. So give this a quick mix together.
Oh, okay.
Just to kind of help break up the sugar and help it dissolve a little bit. Just make sure there's kind of no big lumps of it. And it's just like literally seconds of it. Then we're gonna add milk, and this is just half a tablespoon. This is instead of our egg.
Oh, yes.
So lots of recipes will use like a quarter of an egg, half an egg, and it's not my favorite thing to do. So I was trying to figure out a way to remove it. And it also means this recipe is really easy to veganize. You can use a vegan dairy, a vegan butter, and then just use a non-dairy milk, and it works great as a vegan recipe.
That is really good.
And obviously dark chocolate's vegan generally anyway, so it's a really easy one to veganize.
Right,
so
what's
once
next?
It's mixed, you don't need to do anything more than just kind of get it nicely combined. We're gonna add our flour. So this is, you want 3 tablespoons of plain flour. Now I'm using a measuring spoon, like an actual measuring spoon, not like a teaspoon or a dessert spoon.
No.
You want it nice and level. But this is not crazy, pedantic, but a level tablespoon is helpful. So we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of flour, and then at the same time we're gonna add our baking powder, baking soda, and salt.
Right. So in your book it says a pinch.
There's a pinch.
I've been a bit worried about this pinch because I feel like, do you use 2 fingers? Do you use 3? Do you not use any fingers?
Technically, a pinch is a measurement.
Okay.
Kind of. It's a 1/16 of a teaspoon, but no measuring spoons come with that, so I didn't write that down because I don't think it's that helpful.
Someone needs to invent a pinch spoon.
There is. I have a measuring spoon that literally says a pinch, and I think it was like a jokey thing, but you
like
can
a novelty
randomly
spoon.
get them. Yeah, just
I want it.
Who doesn't want a novelty spoon that says pinch? Anyway,
It's true.
it's basically a 1/16 of a teaspoon.
Okay.
So it literally is just a pinch. It really is just a really tiny, tiny amount.
So that's, if you've got a quarter teaspoon measure, that's a quarter of that, so.
Yeah, just really tiny amounts.
Okay.
But the good thing is even if you add a little bit too much, you're making a single cookie, and to be honest, it really turns out well regardless. So as long as there's some in there, you might get a slightly puffier one, slightly flatter one that spreads more. It doesn't matter too much. You'll get a delicious cookie at the end of it anyway.
Yeah.
So this stage is where you can kind of determine what the finished cookie's gonna look like. If the dough feels too sticky, it means it's gonna spread loads, you're gonna get a thinner cookie. So you can adapt it and change it at this stage to get that texture that you want before you add the chocolate. So that's one of the reasons why I say it's useful to have the butter cooled but still melted, because that's the texture you're looking for. So I'm gonna add a tiny bit more flour because this is looking a little bit sticky.
Mine's stiffer than yours.
You keep adding more flour than mine, but that's
Well,
fine.
that's the beauty
Yours
of-
is, that's how it's meant to look.
Oh, okay, cool. I did it right.
So
He invented it and I just perfected it, I guess. Probably not, actually. That's not.
So what you're going to do once it's finished is then add in your chocolate. So
Oh, yeah.
I like to use chopped bar chocolate because I think it gives a better texture. It tends to give a better flavour because the chocolate melds in. You get those kind of mixed textures and flavours, and it's just delicious.
So good quality dark chocolate.
Yeah, use something that you really like the taste of because it's not going to change in the cookie. So it needs to be one that you love. But you can adapt it to like a darker one, or like, you know, use however you want. Any chocolate in this would be great. So. Yeah,
I've kind of heaped my tablespoons.
That's fine.
Is that
Heaped
cool?
tablespoons is no problem. I'm
More
not going to
chocolate, the
complain
merrier.
when there's more chocolate.
No, no one's going to complain about that.
So I like to add most of the chocolate to the dough, and then depending on how the cookie looks, I might add a little bit on the outside because that will give those really visually pleasing and kind of delicious looking puddles of chocolate on the top. Puddles of chocolate doesn't sound very attractive, does it?
It does to
But
me.
It looks delicious.
Sounds pretty good to me.
So once you have got your dough ready, you've got two options. One, you can bake it straight away. You can just form it into a rough ball, bake it straight away. They tend to be slightly thinner, they spread a little bit more. If you want something that's kind of more bakery style, a little bit thicker, a little bit chewier, pop it in the fridge for half an hour. Just literally grab your bowl, throw it in the fridge, and because it stiffens up and the butter kind of absorbs into the flour, so does the milk, you'll get one that spreads slightly less. But we're just gonna bake it off straight away, so you're just gonna roll it gently into a ball, and then place onto our tray.
Okay.
They do spread quite a bit, so you might need a bit of space. I use a single 1/8 sheet pan, which is like a really diddy pan, and just bake one cookie off on there.
I've got one of those little pans.
I sent you
They're
one of those.
so handy, actually.
Final step is salt. So you
yes.
just want to put a little sprinkling of flaked sea salt on. I do it before it gets baked because the salt will adhere to the cookie a little bit better. You can also do it after, but you need to do it immediately, otherwise it won't stick. So that's going to go in the oven for about 16 minutes.
At what, 160?
160 on a fan oven, or 180 if you've got a traditional oven. You can also, if you want, when the cookie is still hot from the oven, you can give it a little scoot with a cookie cutter, and that will help kind of refine the shapes. If you want something that's a little thicker, you can do that, or you just let it go nice and thin. It's completely
freestyle.
It's delicious anyway. So let's throw that in the oven.
Right, so that's 16 minutes.
60 minutes.
Let's go make a cup of tea, and we'll see you shortly for a cup of tea and a cookie.
Yeah, sounds great.
Hello, we're back with two delicious and ever so slightly different cookies. It's so interesting, isn't it? Because yours was a lot looser, you had more sort of bitty chocolate, mine was a bit more lumpy chocolate and stiffer.
So it also looks like yours may have a little bit more sugar. It's got the slightly more kind of classic crisp outside. So it just shows you that even if the batters are slightly different, they both come out amazing.
Yeah.
Don't worry about this recipe too much. It's incredibly simple.
Worry about it. Well, it is so simple, and that means there is literally no excuse for you guys not to try this. And if you do, make sure you take a picture, put it up on Instagram, and tag me, Cupcake Jemma, and Ed at The Boy Who Bakes.
Yes.
We'll probably put some fancy like graphics up there somewhere, so you know what to do. Also, we're going to go and eat these. Well, we'll have a little nibble now. Should we have a little nibble now?
A little nibble.
Oh, it's still warm.
Yeah. This is like the ideal time when the chocolate's still,
Yeah, mine's definitely got that sugary crispy, crunchy, chewy thing going on. Yours looks nicer.
Too big of a bite?
Oh no, classic. That's like Dane, that's what Dane does every week. Down in one. He'd put that whole cookie in. Right, he probably would actually. It's really good though. We've used really good quality chocolate here as well. We used, was it Bare Bones?
Bare Bones from Glasgow, and it's a husband and wife team that make chocolate in a kind of very small batch way, but it is so delicious. And I think with this sort of recipe, the chocolate is not going to change in the recipe, so use the chocolate that you love because it will taste like that in the cookie. You know, when you're making it into a cake, it can be slightly different.
Yeah.
But in here, you're really going to taste it. So
You
use
are.
something you love. So.
Totally, and also like it's one cookie, guys.
Yeah.
It's 2 tablespoons of
Exactly.
chocolate. It's not a lot, and you know, it's a treat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be a single cookie.
Exactly.
So we're going to eat more of this, but we're going to go and do it over on the sofa for the last crumb, which if you don't know, that is our feature over on our Bake Club on Patreon, where we all kind of sit on the sofa. After a shoot, we eat all the food, we chat, and on this one, I'm going to be grilling Ed about his process of writing the book and some other stuff, life questions, puppy tips, all sorts. So if you want to check that out, then head over to patreon.com/Cupcake Jemma to join us there. Also, buy Ed's book.
Yes, please.
Do you know what's so great about it? I'm going to take it off the shelf. It's so, like, it's obviously a substantial book, but it's just small enough. You could put this in your handbag.
Yeah, totally.
You could definitely put it in your stocking. Just saying.
It's a great Christmas present.
Wonderful Christmas present.
Tuesday present.
And presumably
Friday
you
present.
can buy this at all self-respecting
bookstores.
bookshops.
Yes. It's
And,
out all around the world now as well. So it's out in the US on the 4th of October, and then everywhere else at the same time. So
Wow, taking over the world, one bake at a time.
very slowly, but I'll get there one day.
Well, I can't wait to bake some more from this book. I've already got like
I was
5
seeing-
dog-eared pages on here. Now, what's next? This is one I really want to do.
Oh yeah, that's great.
The cinnamon bun slice.
Yeah. It's really
Yummers.
good.
Maybe we'll share the recipe, who knows? Yeah, we'll see you on the Bake Club if you're a member, and if not, we'll see you next week. Not with Ed, sadly, but one of us Cupcake Jemma teams members will bring you something delicious next week, and I hope you will join us. Thanks for joining us today. Get your cookie.
I'm getting my
Ooh,
cookie.
let's get comfy on the sofa.
I'm getting all of the cookies.
Yeah.